Let's talk about that for a minute with Mr. Hi, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Let's Talk About That for a Minute. I'm your host, Mr. Pope, the founder of Sun God Records. The first band that's also a religion, the People's Love Cult. I was in Gravy Horse and a number of other things as well. Interesting show here tonight. This is the first episode in the new phase and platform of this podcast. Some of you may be familiar with my show on Instagram Live. Recently I was on another podcast being interviewed. I was also interviewed for something else that was somewhere. So whatever. So I'm just doing this now because I've been wanting to kind of change the format of this podcast and make it a little something more polished and professional. Now it's the same good old equipment. My newest album is Peace of Mind. This is out on Spotify and iTunes and Bandcamp, on the site, on SoundCloud. I have a new single out. It's a response song to Ariana Grande's Thank You Next, that hit we know and love. It is fashioned in the manner of a response text saying, got it, thanks. So, I just like to do these playful things. I like to look at culture and society. Music really is what I'm just talking about, but the reflections of that in there, and bring it here from my own voice. Now, tonight's guest on Let's Talk About That for a Minute is Mr. Emperor. I know him with a lot of names, but right now he's Emperor. God, it's so weird to keep repeating myself all the time. Emperor of the Sixth Realm. He's got a long introduction. I mean, this guy's from a different layer. I mean, he gives me problems too. Emperor Snakebeard. And he is the founder of several different groups, from the Gentlemen in Lake Worth, Florida, a music scene that I am among and familiar with. This is how I met this gentleman. And he has collaborated with me. I've written some songs for him. Ghost written some songs for him. He's one of the artists that I, just pay attention to. Just I'm supportive regardless. There's a lot of great artists out there. He's one of those people in the underground. Let me just explain a little bit about Demon Belly to you. Demon Belly is a band based in Nashville, Tennessee. They've been circulating a lot on the internet right now, particularly on a message board where I guess, Emperor Snakebeard is not really perceived well for a certain audience. Now, say what you will about that, because he has a certain demeanor, a personality. As an artist, he's very intense and aggressive. I'm familiar with that. He wants to make a living. He has his own company. He works. He does what he has to do, and it's a tough business. He's recently just been the subject to a lot of parody and memeing and shitposting, and of course, that happens to all of us. Not really all of us, but it happens to a good amount of us. It ends up happening when we have a certain character now in music that is moralistic, and of course, you basically would like to elect the artist you're listening to, but you look at the media, you look at the news, and you act very surprised when you see this big hit maker is troubled in this way, or much worse, which we've been seeing a lot in the music industry lately. This is a positive thing that musicians are now being held accountable for, because the rock and roll lifestyle, or just the pop star lifestyle, if you're somewhere, you're going anywhere, even in this industry, you have to understand that, there's a separation between the music and the person, and that's just kind of how I see it. I don't want to involve myself with this special interest group because they've just managed to give a musician that I know, who I differ in opinions with him myself, but when it comes to the point of this group who is raving about Demon Belly to the point that they've got some gigs lined up and they're showcasing their stuff now to a much wider audience, just in a unlikely sort of fame, if you will, by a lot of negativity. I want to share a little story real quick, is that I had a song come out on Reddit that, and I also spoke out against a lot of hatred on Reddit from the self-promotion that I was doing. It was a lot of backlash I faced. You're not really supposed to do that. And, I had a lot of, I've just heard everything there is. And we kind of live in a world now where everything is, you got to joke about it. You got to you got to get on a bandwagon on something. And it's just kind of pretty cynical and negative. And I guess these guys are musicians too. And, maybe they could be applying themselves to something else. Now, I don't know. I want anybody in that circle. I'm expecting this interview to be heard a lot by this kind of group of people because it's supposed to be posted or shared. This is an interview on my podcast. I want to remind you, separate entity, separate complete thing. But it is my reaction because I feel like we should not do this to censor ourselves. I mean, this group, my point is, has been tagging themselves as somebody else, basically impersonating a musician I know. And if you're getting your point across, I think that that's really a strange approach. It's a bit voyeuristic. Now, of course, I saw the stuff. I saw the content. It's funny. It's because I know the guy. Like it's an interesting take, but we can all do this to each other. I mean, the amount of time you're spending on the internet doing this. Let's just hear the. Oh yeah. So my point is that, and obviously this is my first show in a while, and I want to make this show a little bit more, not racier, but just more open to topics where I'm just talking to people, because the talk show that I do on the Instagram Live, you can find that on Channel Seth Instagram. That's the other operating project I have that I kind of use to subvert YouTube, SoundCloud, Instagram, Bandcamp. Channel Seth is both the musical audio-visual thing. It's a domain name. So Channel Seth Instagram, that's normally where I have the show. You can find the music, the links to my site. I'm more proud to show anybody my stuff. I just want to say that this is an exciting interview for those of you who are tuned in. It's the next level, and it's selling a lot of tickets for Demon Belly. And I wish everybody the best that's involved in this, because you're actually allowing a personal associate of mine a new window and opening up a new door of opportunities. So this show is dedicated to you guys. It's brought to you by persistent admiration and dedication to a man we know as Emperor Lord Snakebeard. So get your asses ready for the sixth round. Here's the interview. Let's Talk About That for a Minute is brought to you by Mr. Pope's newest album, Peace of Mind. Available on iTunes, Bandcamp, SoundCloud, Spotify, wherever millennial music is sold. Featuring such songs as Right On, Where You At, Far Out, and Send in the Clouds. Mr. Pope is the founder of Sun God Records and the People's Love Club. Let's talk about that for a minute.
Underground level. Because obviously we're not commercially being pushed out to, all over the world right now at this point. But there will be a time.
I mean, that's understandable because nothing happens overnight. Nothing is just there in front of you. I mean, a career in music, especially when you have something as radical as what you're doing, overall is just, you know what I mean? It's that's not an easy sell. Like that's
I mean, it's a pretty easy sell when we have other people selling our records for us right now. They're doing the selling of the T-shirts for us.
And yeah, and actually,
and they're getting our shows booked by just talking about us. We're not doing anything. Me and Jay and Grimmy are just, we're just making music.
Oh yeah. So again, let me just we got this rolling here. This is Let's Talk About That for a Minute, ladies and gentlemen. My name's Mr. Pope. I'm here today with Snakebeard, Emperor Hodge Taft. He goes by many names. I've worked with him a lot in the past. Many names, very talented guy, interesting music. Recently, what we were talking about, and on this episode, we discussed, prior to recording, some of the... So, dude, I want you to just tell the people right now, our listeners... a little brief summary of where the band is at and just the recent circulation just booming across the web with this thing. So tell us a little bit about that.
So we're out there. We're constantly recording, constantly posting new material. We first of all, we're getting it better. Gotta be quiet because I'm in my office right now. Anyway, but yeah, we've gotten to a point where people there's a backlash against us for being so fucking amazing, So
Right. And why do you think that? Why do you think that is? Why do you think that you're necessarily being targeted right now in a negative light? However, this.
Oh no, it's not. It's never negative. It's always
Right.
it's always positive. It's always positive because it's for the benefit of the belly.
Yeah, of course.
The benefit of the bad.
Yeah.
And so when it's for the benefit of the bad, I mean, literally these lower pests are going around all over the internet talking about the band, and what they know is they're spreading the word and selling our records for us. We don't even really have to release them or put them out with a label or anything. Our t-shirts are selling off the shelves like hotcakes. I mean, we don't even have any more t-shirts in stock right now because literally they have essentially inadvertently promoted us to such an extent that every single t-shirt has sold out on tour.
Right.
On the road, every place we've gone the last year, the last 7 months.
So
and every show that we've been booked on, we've never done the booking. It's all been done for us by either fans or one of these haters will go out and say something about it, like and blast it on a group. And then, a group of guys will see it and be like, oh, yeah, we're a booking company. Can you play the show? And what?
I mean, because there is no such thing as bad press. And this is also this kind of, we're in this world right now where that is the way we circulate things. I mean, when shit goes viral, when shit gets shit posted, you end up becoming more of a product, more of a commodity, and more of a name. It's like the do-it-yourself celebrity.
Right.
You didn't go into some office and design this. This happened by complete freak of nature, just humanity.
Complete freak of nature, completely organic. Yes.
Right.
No GMO.
So I mean, good for that. Good for them. You know what I mean? Like look at all the the wonderful things they've brought their talents to, and of course their bands. We hear so much about them because I do a search engine for your band, and I obviously see a whole spew of things, and now many characters, ladies and gentlemen, with the man of the hour right now, and but their bands, of course, you're gonna go ahead and search their bands, and you're gonna find like an Urban Dictionary or some kind of like maybe reference to some Wes Anderson film. I'm not sure. I'm not really familiar with that scene.
Yeah, it's really unclear what their content is and what they're trying to do.
Yeah.
I'd really like to know. I mean, I've tried to look into it. I've tried to listen to some of their music.
Yeah, you're a part of their network at the same time. I mean, it's like the bands around here. Like when they say stuff about me, like I tried it.
Well, first of all, I was talking about the haters. They're bad.
Right. That's what I mean too.
And I look into them, and I can't understand what they're trying to communicate. It's not clear.
They have no message, right? And they're aimless in that sense.
Oh, I would say they're 100% lost. Maybe not aimless, but I would say lost. I think they've lost connection with their music, their own music.
And they've lost connection with,
And so therefore they've kind of created, their own group of lost individuals who don't really know exactly what it is they're trying to communicate, and have kind of created their own, I would say, very little army of haters. But it's kind of funny because the way that their group is aimed, what they're aimed towards is they're entirely aimed towards David Belly. They're entirely aimed at us. It's like we're like the idols that they inadvertently worship. It's quite amazing. It's quite exhilarating.
And this comes now to the recent attempt to censor you in your own actual in your own Six Realm, which if I will, they wanted to go into your domain, to the point that these people are actively posing as you, and giving the impression that you know, we can beat the system, we can beat him, because if it just goes away, then he's just gonna stop playing music. Because I see you're releasing music every every month,
there's no doubt about it. We've released more music consistently than any other band,
and it's all there, the production and everything. You know, it's powerful, it's loud.
And the most beautiful thing about it is we haven't even packaged it yet.
Exactly. This is like an unlaunched thing, and like now it's generated. Yes.
Our friends in the punk rock community, the international punk rock community, we're talking about worldwide. They made a worldwide album called "Give Us a Future" and featured us on it, which was very nice. It was volume 3.
Okay, great.
By the way.
Is that available online?
Wait, no. It wasn't volume 3. It was volume 6.
Okay.
We're featured on that.
More
we're
fitting.
featured on that album. Mm-hmm. A very suitable volume.
Very suitable, true. Exactly.
Very suitable number, but, yeah, that was cool of them. We were like, yeah, go ahead. You put our song on there. We're cool.
Of course. I would do it, too.
So it's not really that I'm dealing with punks in this sense or dealing with any particular group. It's more so this local group of what I like to call hipsters.
Sure.
And it's the hipsters who have created this little web, this little fishnet of squabblers that are in their little immediate group locally.
Yeah, it seems like a
and when
common
I say locally,
trait.
I mean like in Nashville.
Yeah, it seems like a reoccurring mentality, a herd-like thing, and and I mentioned to you earlier when we were talking about this.
I mean, anybody can tell you their shows aren't doing anything. I mean, you look at Skullcrackers Brawl 2019 that happened back in January. The turnout was
I heard
monumental.
good things. Yes, I heard good things.
Sold out of everything.
Mm-hmm.
And we've got Bone Grinders Brew Bloodbath coming up on March 7th, 2019 at 327 Hermitage Avenue, Nashville. And we look at that, and that's going to be a night of the ages. We've got Up Serpent's Peruvian Necktie on the bill with it. So, I mean, we're expected to sell that one out as well. So, I mean, if anything, they're helping our cause by creating this commotion. But what I've noticed over the course of rock history is that every band in their beginnings, when they're starting to catch on, or when they're rising, this is a normal phenomenon, and this happens.
It's exciting.
Every day.
We've been through that too. We were pretty. Imagine when we started out, the kind of reactions we would get. As before that in our own claims. So it makes sense, and you gotta really love the struggle. It interests me too. People will talk about my music, my bands, and stuff like that, and my production, whatever. And everybody wants to be impressed. Everybody has high expectations and high standards for things they don't necessarily, obviously not a part of, but
it's very easy to become elitist nowadays.
Yeah. You want a lot now. Everything's been done. Whatever. 2000.
And when I say elitist, I mean nowadays the record labels are more elitist than ever before.
Oh, they're much worse than kids like this, because they're the ones.
It's very complicated for them today, so they're having to branch out and just form lots and lots of subsidiaries to kind of target their regions. But I give them credit because a lot of their bands are very good.
Right, and
some of them you can tell the ones that have been pretty much created and manufactured by the labels, and those aren't genuine bands.
Right. And my message to these kids would just simply be, look. You're wasting your creative energy on complete negativity, and you got to keep this whole personality thing that they've attached, that these kids have attached. Like I said, I would just want these people to just back off, because they could spend a lot of this time. Sure, they've said what they need to say. They're going to make a joke about this, but their page is not circulating. It's worked in your favor, and when I say that, I'm talking about
they've made us money.
They had again, like we were briefed on this, that that circulation got you a show.
Sold out completely, and every t-shirt's sold out of the show. I mean, there's nothing to it. I mean, the next one's expected to sell out even more.
Yeah, you've got to use that to your advantage. I mean, that's you're using that to your advantage, and it's like I have this kind of this approach too, where I see all these things, and it's another way of making music a little political. A little more moralistically minded. You have to, and you look at the history, and it's only the past 10, 20 years that it's such a requirement to be a fucking angel. Yeah.
Yeah, our music is completely detached
Right.
from any reality as a matter of fact. It's actually it's completely created. You know, the subject matter is completely created by the myth that is the band,
Right.
and the characters there within, and you know the things that these characters would be doing. You know,
And
if
they're
they, you know,
not
and
as
they are real.
yeah, and they're
And
not
they're
as driven.
real.
They're not as driven when they're creating their characters out of you. They're not as driven or conceptual or thoughtful because you spent hours. I mean, you've spent years developing this concept, and here they go along and they do something that's like, you know what I mean? Their idea of it is a lot more fucked. You know, their idea of it is just a lot more half-assed, and it's like it's not even a real parody of you. It's a parody of who they think you are. You know, it's not like they think that's who they think you are. And I know you, you know, and like I know you as being somebody that, I mean, you've listened to so many sides of the spectrum, man. You know, like we've been around. This is not saying anything in that light, because we've talked to all kinds of people. You know, we've had
Can you remind these people again who you are and your background and our relationship?
just like people that we've talked to, yeah,
Remind the people, the listeners out there, who you are.
Yeah.
And
I'm
say how you know me and all
yeah,
that.
sure. I mean, and I know that I don't sometimes give a lot of briefings on this, but I was in a lot of bands, and my first touring band, my first active band was the band that became Demon Belly, and we went through a lot of we went through a lot of names. We went to New York City, we went through Philadelphia, we went through we saw these in a short period of time. We lived in several different states. We're starved, basically homeless, nomadic, getting you know what I mean. It was dangerous. We had a lot of flack, and all we had was the music. So if I had not, and and of course you and I have always had clashed so many times, and if I'm able to set that aside, I don't even need to go into details at that point. If I'm able to do that, and I can say, and I'm doing this show as a result of that, because I just there's a fine line, between like limiting somebody's ability, because I see this as a way of, because these people are trying to remove you from the platform. They're saying, saying that they're shitty, and then they're gonna say, "Oh, this is our shitty shit." Like sounded like a bot. They're literally the dangerous thing is that this is like going through a system that's being filtered, and fuck, man, they're not. It's not really a human thing that's behind this machine. It takes a while until it goes back to a real administrator. You know what I mean?
They're robots, is the bottom line.
Yeah, we're wasting their time. They're wasting their fucking time.
Well, they're wasting their time. They could be spending the time creating music or becoming better at their instrument.
Yeah, or just doing something else, or just doing something better for the world,
Well, yeah, but at the same time, I encourage them to keep going, because it's honestly feeding us, and it's making us more and more popular everywhere we go.
Yeah, and keep up with that,
getting us more shows, or selling our merch. So yes, thank you.
Yeah, we have you guys to thank. I'm sure you guys are like me in some family basement as well.
And I'm sure this isn't even the beginning. I'm sure.
Yeah,
so I'm ready.
Yeah. That's
We're ready for you.
That's the best of it. Yeah, and so Demon Belly is probably going to be playing. You guys have a show where at again, just so we can hear this for the broadcast.
It's March 7th in Nashville at a place called Twin Kicks 2, and the address is 327 Hermitage Avenue.
Far out.
And it's going to be at like 8.
Far out. Yeah.
8 or 9.
Yeah, and that's this is a group where these are not your typical musicians. They are a complete ensemble of they are the ensemble of the Sixth Realm. This is not like your typical thing. So this is definitely a band to see, Demon Belly.
We're naturally we're natural maestros with superpowers. And the superpowers are the music.
Oh yeah, that's how you tap into it. You use the magic for it.
Always.
Yeah. And it's funny because this is and you wanted this to at least, it's allowed you now to, again, they sold out the shirts, you're doing the show, the production company hears you, I mean, people.
By the
are
way,
gonna
we
be,
have a
you
new
know,
we have a new batch coming in either this week or next week.
Oh, sweet.
It'll be the
Okay, yeah.
second edition of all time. If you weren't able to get the first edition, you know, don't be sad. You'll be able to get the second edition.
Absolutely.
But you might, if you ever want the first edition, you'll have to buy it off of somebody who owns the first edition shirt.
Mm-hmm.
Because you'll never be able to. None will ever be printed again. I mean, and the same goes with the second edition. The second edition batch of T-shirts. There's going to be a finite amount printed. Then, you know, after that, you know, hey, you'll be lucky if you could find them on the secondary market somewhere. You know, you'll be lucky if you could find them somewhere at some sort of convention or wherever, or another show. But the guy's willing to sell it for you or trade it. I mean, I don't know. That's not our business at that point.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Hell yeah, man. So, the what is the possibility of Demon Belly launching a, you know, I know you guys got the website, doing something on a different streaming platform with a new album, you know, with a whole brand new thing, just having that just drop it somewhere, you know, make it some, pressing something, you know what I mean, printing anything.
You know, our manager really, he's more so our interim manager, but he actually advised us for the next release to be released on a streaming platform of that nature, to be bundled. So we'll bundle it, and it'll be released on like one of these places like iTunes or
that's
SoundCloud.
Spotify, Tidal, you know, Napster.
I'd actually much prefer for physical copies to be the only thing available.
I know,
so we might look into that. We might look into only selling physical and not doing any digital.
On the tours, right? On the tours,
yeah. People appreciate, you know, a package, you know, not just, hey, you know, here's a CD I burned on my computer, go listen to it in my car. But more so, you know, here's the CD, it has art on it, it has a cover, it has a booklet with content in it, and along with the booklet and the content, there's something special, something else.
It's something for the whole family. Something for the whole family to enjoy.
And it's sequentially numbered. You know, I mean, there's a finite number of each EP and LP that will be released.
Of course.
You know, they'll each have their own sequential numbers.
Yeah.
I mean, you're not going to be able to get your hands on a copy of these EPs after we're done printing them. You know, after we're done, you know, zapping them into existence.
You've got some history attached to them, mate. You got some history attached to them. You know, you got a whole new league. You're gonna have generations of people because the internet's not going anywhere. I realize. You know, the internet's just gonna increase the circulation, and you know, there's already this one thing, and I got to tell you that these guys, you know, so they're going after. So this, you know, Demon Belly obviously is a pretty powerful, intense group in Nashville, causing some controversy. You know, getting some names thrown out there. You know, doing some things.
Bar brawls.
Yeah, right. So, all the rock and roll, the true rock and roll thing. You know, it's definitely like in the vein of G.G. Allin, in the vein of punk rock, in the vein of even Kiss. You know, it's just this new world of craziness, and you know, it kind of reminds me of when Gene Simmons is on NPR and he says, "You have to take me with open arms and open legs." And, you know, this is just like you see some people, you know that it's rock and roll. Like, you're going to put these people down, and not every freaking rock star can be Bono, you know, and go, you know what I mean? And just go, like, I'm doing all these benefits and share, you know, that's kind of fake.
After all, we have lives, you know, outside of it all. But, you know, it is the life stuff, you know.
Oh, yeah. A lot of us don't talk about it, dude. I know a lot, like, that's why people get so shocked and they want to talk all this shit with drama musicians. But they're so surprised at the same time. They hear all this creepy stuff going on. And it's like, that's a sick industry. And even the people, like, their music, like, yeah, sure, it's wholesome to you. Then you find out about this person. They're obviously a good salesman. You know, you're kind of being, at the end of the day, you're kind of being lied to, you know, not really knowing an artist's personal life. So you if you don't live in that separately, you know, you're just going to keep getting disappointed. I mean, like, look at this amount of, look at how this is just a great example of it. You know, how these kids are, like, so... It's just a moralistic thing. It's just a completely, it's personal, it's ulterior, and your other listeners, your other fans would probably not give a shit. They clearly don't give a shit, you know. And this attention.
No, I mean, you know, they're happy because they're part of my family.
Yeah.
They are considered to me my family.
Right.
I don't really, I don't have a normal family, you know what I'm saying? They're my family. They're our family, and we are pure to them in the purest ways we can be, with nothing left unsaid and nothing off the table. And that's what we give them in the music,
Right.
But, yeah.
That's that's something that we all are going to be dealing with, and just my advice to people is to not ever, like give in or surrender or apologize if these people are not worth your time. If they're not worth addressing, if they're haters gonna hate, but like it's because we have to. People like you can't even you can't help that. They're not going to be able to help you if they even somebody that really is concerned. They would make the effort to understand, because or accept it. And like you said earlier, what was that thing you said earlier? Acceptance. That the first before acceptance. There's a huge.
Oh yeah, rage and backlash is the first stage of accepting something.
Denial, whatever. Yeah.
Because what we've done is we've inadvertently, indirectly taken all their power away by creating something that they can't control and can't contain.
You can never contain the thoughts of others, and it's like, and of all people, it's not like they're going out. There's some serious sickos. There could be a fucking strangler in the bar that night, and then there's abducting some bartendress or fucking manager, and killing them and keeping them in a cage. And then they're gonna meanwhile be focusing on you. You know what I mean? Like as if you're the true threat to humanity. Is like
I'm the big bad rock star.
Yeah, and they're gonna push your buttons and you're a human being. So of course you're gonna fucking of course you're gonna wail into them, man. Like it's no fucking surprise.
I'm a big bad rock star, man. 3, 4, or 5 chords in the truth, man. Get you in a lot of trouble.
The songs that you've made are more than just like anthems. They're also like they've got such a sound that's distinct even when these kids, this special interest group of fanboys, if you will, they want to mimic you in sound.
I think they work for a t-shirt company.
Yeah.
And an incense store.
Right. They work. Yeah. They're right by the hemp shop and the vape.
Guys,
they sell vape
if you need if you need help selling more t-shirts, why don't you come on board with us?
Yes,
guys,
the Emperor knows a guy, fellas.
If you need help selling your incense and little goblet, why don't you come on board with us?
Join us.
We're happy to help you.
Join the cult.
Yes, please join us.
Join us.
We are open.
Man. All right, dude.
We're open.
All right, so I'm gonna cut the sound off here, but this has been Let's Talk About That for a Minute exclusive with Emperor Snakebeard. Be sure to check this band out. Also, if you find yourself looking at Demon Belly, there are 2 Demon Belly options. Know which one to pick for the music, and know which one to find these special these kids. They're on the spectrum.
Let's just say
they need some help. They need some.
We invite them to every show with open arms.
Open arms and open legs. Like Gene Simmons said. All right, hell yeah.